Got them warmed up and jumping, don't
I'll tell you, I broke a sweat.
Tyler! That's great. Good work. How are you? Oh. Fantastic. How are we going to do this?
It's basically your floor. You can tell stories. I'm your kind of moderator guy.
All right. Cool.
Other than that, y'all know the drill. He's here for you. If you have any questions, just hold up your hand. When you ask your question, stand up. I'll point at you. You ask your question, all that good stuff. Everybody cool?
Cool.
So how you doing today?
How many people haven't seen The Walking Dead? All right, cool.
Tell us about Bob.
I think maybe we should jump straight to questions. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
I don't know what to
Question back there
say.
in the back.
I have a non-Walking Dead question.
Cool. The right stuff?
Let's go back to the right stuff in your portrayal of Scott Crossfield, and I'm wondering, one, did you get to meet with him and talk about working on that character? And two, when you were filming it, did you have any idea that it was going to become the iconic film that it turned out to be?
I knew it was a great script. It was based on a fantastic book. And Scott Crossfield was really a real American hero. He was the first test pilot to go twice the speed of sound, Mach 2. And Chuck Yeager was the first one to break the sound barrier. I did meet Chuck Yeager. I'll tell you a brief story. When I met him, I said, "Excuse me, General Yeager, I'm one of the actors playing one of the test pilots." And he had a big smile. He says, "Who is that?" And I said, "Scott Crossfield." He goes, he turned around and walked away. So that kind of told me the competition that existed between the test pilots, and particularly him, because when Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier, it was top secret. And when Scott Crossfield came along and went twice the speed of sound, he was on the cover of Life magazine. So I think Chuck had a little grudge there or something, but they were both really American heroes. And Scott Crossfield was the first pilot that was also an aeronautical engineer, and he designed the space suits that the astronauts wore, and so he was a wonderful, great guy. I never got a chance to meet him, unfortunately.
Yeah, we had a question over here.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. In the final scene with the governor, where he sadly decapitated you, you gave a little smile just before it happened. I was just wondering, was that under direction? Was that your own thing? And what were you trying to convey with that?
You know, it's really a collaborative medium. Film is a very collaborative medium, and it takes everyone to make something work. And that was scripted. I understood immediately what it meant. We were shooting the scenes, and the director came up and said, "Scott, it's time for that smile." So I knew that meant the head was coming off. But it was scripted, and I thought it was a great insight into the film, because it totally conveyed the relationship that Herschel and Rick had. Herschel talking to Rick and trying to keep humanity in the group. So that was a important moment, I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
Young lady right here.
Hi, well, I missed you on the show. So I had a question. Would you be able to keep a prosthetic leg as a souvenir?
Wait, what?
The prosthetic leg, they let you keep it?
I don't have the prosthetic leg, but I have my head in a trash bag.
Well, I have to say, I have noticed that you haven't cut your hair or shaved your beard. So I'm wondering if that indicates that we're going to see more of Herschel in flashback.
If we are, I don't know it. What happened, but I knew I was coming back to do a flashback for The Walking Dead, and in the meantime, a friend of mine, Michael Connolly, who writes those great books about Harry Bosch, and he's also a friend of mine, called me and asked me if I would do something in his pilot that they were shooting. It'll be on Amazon. And I said, I'd love to, but I have a ponytail and a beard. He said, that's okay. So I shot that. Then I went back and shot in The Walking Dead. And so now I'm kind of trapped because I'm set up in that, having a ponytail and a beard. So, and I'm supposed to be in, I think, 3 more episodes of that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Real quick, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, can you?
Okay. Next question. Right here in front.
Just tell, what is the name of the show that you're going to be in?
Bosch.
Bosch.
Yeah.
Next question. Question?
Yeah, they don't give the cast very much knowledge right before they kill them. It's usually like an episode or 2 before. But it seemed like the episode, how much knowledge did you have before you knew your character was going to be off?
Well, when in episode 3 of the 4th season, I got a little suspicious because they were giving me too much to do. You know, that great speech when you step outside and you take a drink of water. And
So you were not aware at that point? You just had a...
they didn't tell me, but I said, this is not good. It's fun, but it's not good. And then in episode 5, 405, where he goes inside and is trying to save everyone, I said, I'm gone. This is it. And after that episode, next morning they told me that I went in and spoke to Scott Gimple and got the news. So that was about episode 5, 6, 7, and 8. They took me out. So that's how long I knew. And I wasn't in 6 or 7. So.
Question over in the corner.
I just wondered if there was any news on the sequel to Behind the Mask, because I really enjoyed that movie and I liked your part in that. It's really fun. Is there any news on the sequel to it?
Well, I keep hearing that they're talking about doing a sequel to it, and I believe there's a script, but I haven't read it, and they haven't said we're making it, so I don't know what's going on there. But I agree with you. That was a very clever script, and a lot of fun to work on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question there, and then I'll come to the question.
In The Walking Dead, what was one of those challenging scenes for you to do, either physically or mentally?
Well, I'm always mentally challenged. But I think probably the first episode, was it, of season 3, when I was bit in the leg and they chopped it off. That day was very physical and very draining, because it isn't like you're just shooting one take, you're shooting it all day. So I'm bit and the group is picking me up and we're running down the hall, and it's just energy, and then running into the cafeteria. So it was at the end of the day, I was ready to get some sleep, at least some rest. You don't sleep when you're pumping that hard, when your adrenaline's been pumping all day.
Question right here.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Quick question. I know most of the shows are filmed in the southeast, in Atlanta and around Georgia. I know most TV shows, I mean, it's a totally different experience on a soundstage versus being in a real environment. And I just wanted to know a little bit about the history of the prison. Was it actually like an old decommissioned prison? And what's it like working in a real,
That's a great question. The prison was constructed by Grace Walker, who was the art director of the show. And it was really not a prison at all, but he certainly made it look like one. It was the back of the sound stages and the lot that was there. It's, again, like film is a collaborative art form. And all of the work that he did and his team, the work that they did really set the tone and the mood and made it credible what was taking place in the prison. The interiors were all on sound stages made by his team, so it's I'm sure he would appreciate that question. I do.
Next question. Back there in the back.
Just what is your favorite and least favorite part about working The Walking Dead?
It's just a great cast, you know, and the writers. When I first heard about the show, I'm from Georgia, and I was back visiting my mom for her birthday. She was turning 97 at the time. She's turned 100 recently. And she still drives and she still cooks, and, you know, and gets out and works in her flower beds, and she's very active. But what was the question?
What's your favorite, part about working on The Walking Dead versus other roles?
Well, aside from being able to work with the wonderful actors and the writers and the crew, that had a great crew on it as well, that was big for me. Because when I had downtime, I was able to go home and visit my mom. I left Georgia when I was 19. I hitchhiked to California, and I went back a lot, but I didn't have the opportunity to spend as much time with her as I did for the 3 years I was on the show. So that was a big plus. And I made friends with people, you know, below the title and above the actors as well. So it was a great experience all the way around.
Good question. First hand, second hand.
So, you mentioned your mom. Does she watch the show, and in particular, did she watch you get your head chopped off?
Yeah, she's a fan of the show. When I was up for it, I said, let me see the first season. So I was looking at the first season with her, and she said, Scott, you have to do this. And my real name is Billy, so she's calling me Scott now. But and she also read the first 8 scripts and said, you really have to do this. This is a great show. And she was right, you know. But that's not necessarily the reason I did it. But but she was a fan of the show. Is a fan of the show. Thank you.
Question over here.
Show, I read a lot of how close the cast members get filming. I was wondering if you could share with us something that stands out in your mind, memory, be it funny, touching, sad, your pick.
Well, I mean, an expression of how close we get is when the characters are killed off the show. There's a death dinner that the cast goes to, and so it's really a bonding moment and appreciation of the work that they've done. Certainly the actors from the first season, a lot of them are gone now, and they, you know, we walked on their shoulders for a long time, and now they walk on my shoulders as well, the cast members that are remaining. So and there's an appreciation for that from the cast who's there. So it's really tight group.
Question back there, and then over there.
Will you continue to watch the show and maybe in later episodes?
Well, truthfully, I don't usually watch it when I was in it. At the end of the season, I would watch it because I didn't like to see something maybe I wouldn't agree with, and then I might go in and, you know, it's too late. Once it's done, it's done. So I will. Probably what I'll do is binge watch it.
What does your mother think about the beard and the ponytail?
She likes it. But also, in answer to a question earlier, someone asked her how she felt about me getting killed. She said, "Oh, I've seen him get killed before." And I have. I was hanged in my second film.